strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. And looking at flood as a flood, but also water as a concept. So going through the strengths of what a flood can bring, it brings life, so nutrients to the soil, it cleans, it brings life together at a central point, being the water, and can overcome droughts and fire. It has a force of its own, so it can be, when harnessed, is quite powerful. So there's power in it being, there's potential energy, so you can use the water to power hydroelectric schemes, water the paddocks, etc. for the stock. And then looking at then what are its weaknesses. So the biggest one is it can't be guaranteed. Humans as a species, and all species dependent on water, which is always at risk. It has to be managed well, because mismanagement can lead to disaster, and there's always the risk of pollution from other sources coming into it. So then it gives us an idea of what our opportunities around that. The first one obviously is storage. Treating it like a battery, so putting water in a place where you can keep it, slow release it over time to power hydroelectric, run it through your growing areas. Just keeping it, taking that potential energy as a stored water and putting it into kinetic energy. Also allows you to use other systems like aquaponics or something like that. The threats from it though, takes life, very destructive, can bring disease, carries pollutants around quite easily, and the threat is there's too little or too much. So that were the key points we then worked around. So how do we bring something then that we can use? First one is to harness it, or to try and control it, or as impossible as it sometimes is to control water. So swales, dams, trying to take the destructive power out of it where you can, repurposing it, so putting it towards growth, energy, nourishment, etc. The problem with water is you can't create water, you can only harness it, you can only capture it when it's there. So it's harvesting it while it's around. Again, as I say before, power, getting some systems in place to control the power, so hydro generators, water wheels, etc. And that's sort of putting all that in place. As we were sort of talking before, I just put together a little bit of an acronym, as I do, being a accountant in the city, to try and, one thing you can take away from it, I just use the word chapter, because water is sort of only ever a chapter in the, the story, and that's control, harness, at risk, powerful, threat, energy, and requirements. So it's maintaining all those sort of 7 things in your mind at any one time. Maintaining an understanding of how it works, how it flows, because you can never tell water to stop. You can only say, all right, you can come past and I'll just get onto you and off we go.
Yeah. Thanks, Jim.